bring in Marcus Spears, the big swagoo. You can catch him on NFL Live Monday through Friday on the Mothership at 4 Eastern. Dan Orlovsky, Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, and Laura Rutledge. The difference between your quarterback being cocky and being confident is what?
Cocky is when he's trying to build himself up to be something he's not. Confident is when he knows he's going to ball every time he steps on the field.
Joe Burrow is confident, but is he cocky?
Absolutely. Not cocky to me. I think, and DP, it got a lot to do with the work that you put in to be good, right? Some people interpret it that way, but I don't think cocky is one of those things where not for the public outside of the locker room, but the guys in the locker room. If you cocky, you ain't leading. If you're confident, we'll follow you. And for a quarterback, that's the most important thing. We don't want a non-confident quarterback. And there's a line to where when you think you are him. The young folks now, Dan, DP say him. You are himothy. That means you are that guy. So you want to feel like your quarterback is that, but you don't want him to be cocky.
Okay, how many himothies are in the NFL at quarterback?
Let me see. 1, 2, 3.
You can say their names out loud.
You got Pat, obviously. You got Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. Tom is still him. I just think Tom age is starting to show itself a little bit too much.
Josh Allen?
Absolutely. Josh Allen. It's not that many. It's not that many.
Dak Prescott?
I think Dak is. There's inconsistency to his himothy. You know what I mean?
But what's the disconnect with Dak Prescott? What is preventing him from being a top 5 quarterback?
Inconsistency, man. And then too, DP, he's more scrutinized than anybody because we know what team he plays for. So half the country want him to fail anyway. But no, man, it has to be a consistency in what you do. All of the guys, and not just in winning, in performance as well. I think Justin Herbert is super talented. I think sometimes we get a bit carried away with Justin Herbert. I think Josh Allen is elite because Josh Allen has consistently won football games.
Yeah.
I think Lamar Jackson is elite. It's just done a different way. He consistently wins football games year in and year out. And Pat and Aaron and Tom, obviously in a class of their own. Tom is the greatest winner of all time. He's the GOAT in football, not the most talented. So it's just different. You got to have variation and nuance when you talk about these quarterbacks. If it's a young quarterback in the NFL that I would want, if somebody was to nail me down and say, give me, Marcus, you got a chance to take one of these quarterbacks. I'm not talking about the 3 I mentioned that are elite, not Pat. Pat is the obvious answer. You're going to take Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. I'm not putting them in that category. Without a shadow of a doubt, the first name that's going to come off my board is Joe Burrow.
I was also wondering this. If I swapped Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott, I put Dak on the Chargers, put Justin Herbert on the Cowboys. Are we treating them differently?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, look, man, Justin Herbert, see, we make these marriages hindsight, right? Because you think about all of the things that have transpired in the NFL with quarterbacks in a certain situation or where they could go, right? Tom is phenomenal because he actually did it. When he left New England, we was like, damn, Tampa, a good place to go. They got a good defense, good offense. They got guys. And it actually worked. But I think if you took Dak and put him in a smaller market, Kirk Cousins skates by because he in Minnesota. You could you imagine? And Kirk Cousins gets scrutinized, I think unfairly at times. I think he's a really good quarterback. But if he was in Dallas, it would be worse. Dak and Kirk Cousins are pretty much the same guys.
Oh, you would compare those two?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But you got to be a closer.
That's all. DP, see, that's why you the magic man at this. Because no matter how much fans want to admit it, at the end of a football season, all of those stats and touchdowns and all of that don't matter. Because what did we talk about at the end of this year? We talked about Matt Stafford at the end of the Tampa game when they had to make plays. We talk about Tom Brady. And the reason why we think Tom Brady is the GOAT is because of moments. It ain't statistically. We think about him as the GOAT because of coming back against the Atlanta Falcons, making drives to get Adam Vinatieri in position to kick a field goal. Seeing what he did, his defense led him to the championship when he was in Tampa, but he still had to make a critical drive against Green Bay. That's how we remember guys. Like as much as we laud Aaron Rodgers, we always talk about he only got one Super Bowl, and the reason why it's poignant to talk about Aaron Rodgers with only one Super Bowl is because we've seen him at times with the ball in his hand not come through.
Yeah.
Right. So it really boils down to and everybody. That's why we say Tom Brady is the GOAT, because everybody is chasing those moments. DP, I'm gonna ask you on this question. If I put these guys on the draft board, Tom Brady would be the last quarterback you take. If we was drafting off talent, and obviously we know he went late rounds in the draft, right? If we were just drafting off talent, the one thing you can't quantify until it actually happens, how are you in critical moments?
Yeah.
Right? And that's why he's the GOAT. But I would draft Patrick Mahomes before him. I would draft Aaron Rodgers before him. I would draft Joe Burrow before him. But knowing what we know now over a 20-year period, we know that Tom, and what we talk about all the time, is how clutch he's been. We don't talk about the 5,000-yard seasons or the high number of touchdowns. We don't talk about him scrambling and making some dynamic play. We say, oh my God, the scariest thing in the world is Tom Brady with the football in his hand at the end of a game.
He's the big swagoo, Marcus Spears, NFL analyst. You can see him on NFL Live Monday through Friday. Dan Orlovsky, Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, and Laura Rutledge. The Cowboy situation, you have Brett Maher, obviously lacking confidence. So how do you bolster that confidence? You bring in another kicker for practice? Help me. You know, from the outside looking in, this can't be helping Brett Maher.
It doesn't help him at all. I listen, but DP, this is the part of the business that nobody likes to talk about and we don't like to acknowledge. Like when I was playing in the league for 9 years, there would be dudes on Wednesdays coming on the field after we walked off of practice to see if one of them could take somebody's job. Like that's the reality of the NFL.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't feel like a unit or an individual was performing up to a standard or a level, they were trying to find the guy that could get to that standard or that level. Now, DP, you missed 4 extra points. And we know that a lot of times in these playoffs, these games come down to those just, you know, we would have harkened back. If Tampa would have made a run, and if the game would have been close, Tampa didn't even have to win. If the game would have been close, we'd have talked about, well, he left 4 points on the scoreboard. You know, he left 4 points out there. He missed some kicks against Tampa the first game of the season that nobody remembers because that was a 19-3 game, but he had some opportunities in that game. Look, man, it's a dog-eat-dog world up here. Coaches' jobs are based on performance from their players, and there is no more critical time than to have a kicker in the playoffs. We know how important it is. We ain't just start covering football. But you're right. It don't do a damn thing for his confidence. Well, but I don't care about his confidence. I care about the ball going through the uprights.
We had Jason Garrett on first hour. And I said, did you ever yell at a kicker? He goes, no, because there's a fragile nature to them. You put the only player on the team you put your arm around. If they make a mistake, you put your arm around. Everybody else, it feels like, can get yelled at.
What DP think about this? Because I've always had this. this sentiment towards kickers. I never really liked them a lot, to be honest with you. When we used to be in camp in Dallas, they would be playing golf. They'll come do their special teams thing. They'll go play golf. The golf course in Oxnard was right behind the practice field. They'll be on the golf course. We'll be out there damn near about to die, taking on double teams. Okay, so I never had a great affinity for them. The affinity comes from, do you deliver in those moments where we need you the most? I remember a game, I don't remember the kicker's name, but I remember a game, Larry Allen met the kicker out there on the field and damn near choked him to death. Okay, so it's not that we love you if you're Justin Tucker. Okay, because you've built enough cachet to miss one.
Yeah.
Right. But when you got these guys, man, and they get a hard, it's a hard job. And everybody talks about, like the kid from Ohio State, right? In the championship, in the semifinal game, who missed that kick. When Kirby called that timeout, I was sitting next to my wife on the sofa. The kid turned his back to the field goal and took his helmet off. He was done.
Yeah.
That's what Jason Garrett was alluding to about fragility when it comes to their mentality. Because DP, the one thing that I give them is it's like a lot of times in their career, it's like going up to the free throw line and you got to make these two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the guy who shoots 85% in the first 3.5 quarters and shoots 75% in the final half quarter. Paulie, do you have the game that Marcus is talking about?
Yeah, I think it's 2005, San Francisco versus Dallas at San Francisco. Bledsoe throws a touchdown. Jose Cortez misses an extra point, and Larry Allen looks like he's going to pile drive him.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was because it's DP. I'm telling you, bro, it's a very difficult relationship to manage. Let me just say that.
The Brock Purdy experience. I was going to say experiment, but it's not an experiment. It's the experience here. What has stood out that you think is actually sustainable for him in his career?
Poise. And I think that's one of the best traits any quarterback has to have. You can always punch holes in the game of a quarterback. We can find the flaws. We watch film. My crew on NFL Live, if you want a quarterback to be the worst quarterback in the league, we can find the plays to prove it, right?
That's Orlovsky.
Yeah, that's Dan. That's the old job. And he does that with Dak a lot, which is why we fight so much. Dak threw 2 interceptions, but he threw 5 touchdowns. No, we're gonna focus on these 2 interceptions. All right. No, but man, it is one of them. It's just a
Brock Purdy has it.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's just something.
Yes. Okay.
It's just something, right? And look, we can all acknowledge that he's in a great situation with Kyle Shanahan as a coach, and he's in a great offense with guys that you don't have to throw the ball 50 times a game, 15, 20 yards downfield in order to make explosive plays. We can acknowledge all of that. We can acknowledge that he plays with one of the best defenses, well, the best defense in the NFL. So there's not a lot of pressure where you go into a game thinking you're going to have to score 35 or 40 points. You got a great run game. Like he's in a very comfortable position as a quarterback, right? Which is why I used to throw up in my mouth when people said Jimmy Garoppolo was leading the 49ers to a Super Bowl. He was not. All you had to do was watch the games. Yeah. He was not. But he was playing. He was facilitating. And that actually Brock Purdy just gave me an epiphany about Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy just did what he needed to do. And that's what Brock Purdy is doing. Now, the one thing I like about this kid, he knew that he had a team that was on the ascend before Jimmy got hurt. He knew where they were at before he took over the starting spot. And he's facilitated and made a lot of tremendous plays. And his athleticism brings another element to this offense that isn't usually there, which is the reason why I thought they drafted Trey Lance. He's been really good, DP.
Yeah.
He's been really, really good. He's supported by a really good cast of coaches and players, but he's done his job at a very high level, and he's doing what he's been asked to do. So I give him credit for that. Am I putting him in Canton? Hell no. I almost fought with a dude on Twitter talking about Brock Purdy is special. He played 6 games. Like when you say special about somebody, that means you are putting them in a category of elite. To me, that's my definition. Let's take a pause on that right quick and just acknowledge that the kid has played well and put his team in a position to win games.
If the Ravens let Lamar Jackson go, finish the sentence.
The dumbest franchise in NFL. Or can I put a comma, DP?
Sure, yes, yes, you can.
Or you blowing it up and you changing your philosophy as an offense, and that may take a few years to get going. Because 1, you got to identify the right quarterback. 2, you got to change the way you coach offensive football.
Would you give him a Deshaun Watson contract right now? Just
absolutely.
$230 million, all guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because DP, and I'm gonna give you a reason, and we're gonna hang up, and I'm gonna let you call us fight over this.
Okay.
There is no player in the NFL more valuable to his team than Lamar Jackson. That doesn't mean Lamar Jackson is better than Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't mean he's better than any other quarterback that we deem these top elite guys.
Yeah.
Value, Lamar Jackson is the most valuable player at the position to his particular team. The Baltimore Ravens are not who we have seen them to be without Lamar Jackson. Now, a big part of that is they built it that way.
Yes.
They wanted him to be what he is to that offense. I have screamed and hollered, get this man some wide receivers. Get him some weapons. Mark Andrews going to the Hall of Fame because the Baltimore Ravens ain't got no wide receiver. And I love Mark Andrews. He's a great tight end. Not a good one. He's a great tight end. And he would go to the Hall of Fame anyway. But I'm being facetious and making the point that I would beg anybody to go back since Lamar Jackson has been in Baltimore and name one guy on the perimeter that scares you. Now, I thought go ahead.
Is Lamar Jackson the Luka Doncic of quarterbacks?
Yes. You get Luka a big man and a couple shooters. And we know what the conversation going to be in the West. Now, he would have to change his game and not be so ball dominant. He'll be more of a facilitator, but he could adjust to that, and he still would get 30. But DP, there is no way you can look at football, okay, when in terms of the Baltimore Ravens and say that team would be this without Lamar Jackson. There's no way you could do it.
Yeah, I wonder. I think they're going to franchise him and maybe trade him.
And if they franchise him, a trade, I think would be in his favor.
Yeah.
But if they franchise him, like I said on Get Up the other day, go to Cabo.
Oh, just hold out?
Man, what? If Zeke Elliott got $90 million for holding out, what you think Lamar Jackson gonna do? The Ravens, look, man, I got a tremendous amount of respect for Bisciotti. They've always taken care of their guys. And it's a very precarious situation because, you don't want to set a precedent. That's the business element of it. But I'm focused on the player element. The player that you have is more valuable to what you do as a franchise than any other player in the NFL. Yeah. So maybe we should have a discussion about the guaranteed money.
Good to talk to you. Hopefully I'll see you in Arizona, Super Bowl.
Are you there?
Oh.
I'm coming on live. on live.
Oh, whoa. Yeah?
Yeah, I gotta give you a hug, man.
All right, Fritzy.
I feel like
Swagoo wants to do a drop by.
That's fabulous.
And he's going to bring him. Wait, what is Himothy?
Himothy. You can use it.
All right.
You can use it, DP.
Yeah.
DP, you Himothy.
You're spitting is what you're doing right now.
You know what it is. You know what it is.
You're spitting. Yeah. Thank you again, Marcus.
All right, brother. Y'all take care, man. Always good.
Marcus Spears, the big swagoo. I be spitting. I just learned what spitting was about 20 minutes ago.